members of our Congress, you will always have within our government those that are above the law. Hey, it's me. Now, we talked so much about Uranium One, the Clinton email investigation, and Spygate, and lately I've said there's something really big that we don't even know about yet, that the FBI is hiding, the FBI and the DOJ. And it must be something that the FBI is really worried about. So I gave it a couple of seconds of thought just now, and see, I'm really investigating, right? A couple of seconds worth. But what if, and you have some evidence of that, but what if the FBI and the DOJ closely coordinated with the Hillary campaign, not only for the email investigation, but also for Spygate? Because I see the Clinton Foundation paws all over everything that's happening with the SDNY, with the Mueller probe. You have Clinton Foundation people everywhere. You have a Clinton lawyer representing Michael Cohen, of all people. And so it seems like Bill Clinton, and thus the Clintons, are heavily involved. So it was Bill Clinton that got Hillary to walk away from the Hillary investigation. And also, Trey Gowdy was hired by Bill Clinton, and he slow-walked a lot of stuff. He didn't even touch Uranium One in this whole year. And now they had like some kind of a subcommittee with a small hearing about the Clinton Foundation, like just a couple of weeks before the Congress ends. It's meaningless. And it's a subcommittee. Why did not Trey Gowdy make it a big deal with the Oversight Committee? Instead, it's a subcommittee of the Oversight Committee. Why? Why is Trey Gowdy, kind of pushing it to a place where you can only see it on some of the YouTube channels, and that's it? Because that's the purpose. But it's not only Trey Gowdy, it's everybody that was on the Clinton payroll, people that were involved in the Clinton Foundation, and that includes James Comey. You have Andrew McCabe, heavily involved, also getting a lot of money, as you know. I'm not telling you things that you didn't know yet. But what I'm talking about is a close collusion or coordination or conspiracy together with the Clintons and the Hillary campaign. Meaning that you had email exchanges, many of them, not only with Choco, but with the Hillary people, with John Podesta. And those could be part of the 33,000 emails that were deleted with BleachBit. And who gave Hillary Clinton and her people that idea? It was the FBI. Andrew McCabe saying you should use BleachBit. And that's what she did. So that these emails can never be found. It was James Comey who told 3 witnesses of the Hillary email server scandal investigation to destroy their laptops. You get that? The FBI telling witnesses to destroy evidence. So of course they do it because you have the FBI saying do it. So it's like no problem. And I'm saying, why the interest to help Hillary BleachBit all those emails? Why the interest for James Comey to tell witnesses to destroy their laptops so that those emails can never be found? Why? The answer: because they've been emailing with the Hillary campaign, coordinating with the Clinton people, and perhaps Choco and his people were involved. Now, let me ask you something. Why did James Comey come out and act like he was the Attorney General, saying that no prosecution should be made with this kind of evidence, meaning that James Comey was not only investigating as the FBI, but then also deciding on no prosecution, as if he were head of the DOJ? Why would he do it? Because that is a job of the Attorney General, Loretta Lynch. Now, Loretta Lynch said she was going to go with the recommendations of the FBI. Now, why would they do it in that way? Is it that the DOJ wanted to make sure that the FBI and James Comey got all the blame and not Loretta Lynch for deciding not to prosecute it? Because of course they know she's guilty. Or was it that the Clintons, especially Bill Clinton, did not trust Choco enough and Loretta Lynch to have it go to Loretta Lynch? Because what if suddenly they decided to prosecute? Then what? Then it's too late to stop it. But if they can make everything stop with James Comey, then Loretta Lynch doesn't get involved. She feels safe. At the same time, the Clintons feel safe because there's not going to be like a nasty surprise. And it was really James Comey that was supposed to be the end of the whole story. And if you look at Spygate, now of course Choco was involved. Of course the Clintons were involved, especially Hillary Clinton nagging at her husband Bill Clinton to do something, because you know how angry she gets and how bitter she is about losing. And so she wanted revenge, but also for the country to see that she was the legitimate one that should have won, and Trump cheated and was helped by the Russians or whatever she was thinking. And it's really like the FBI and DOJ indulged this maniac. And why? Because of all the connections to the Clinton Foundation, all of these people involved in some monkey business with the private email server and sending classified information, and you could say that many of them are guilty of the same crime as Hillary Clinton, or the same felony. And so by thoroughly investigating her, prosecuting her, it would mean that they would all have to be prosecuted. Choco, who did the same. Perhaps James Comey was emailing classified information. We already know he was sending classified information to a friend in Columbia University. So these people let Hillary go because they themselves are guilty of the same crimes. And so they've all been involved, and they've been sucked into the Clinton Foundation. They've been sucked into that private email server and many emails, and then they covered it up. And so the FBI and the DOJ had a supreme interest to cover up not only for Choco and Hillary, but for themselves. And you see the actions of Rat Rosenstein and Steiner for all of this time. He's slow walking everything. Why? Because he signed off on one of the warrants, or at least the FISA applications, to get a warrant. And so he's involved. He's being sucked in. So he's protecting himself. And you see a lot of people that are involved because of stupidity, or because they assume that Hillary would win. They were waiting for promotions once she did become president. And they bet everything they had, the house, on Hillary winning. So when she didn't win, they had to clean up a lot of stuff. And so the FBI and the DOJ were involved in a Trump dossier. I mean, they knew this guy for a long time. Don't tell me they just suddenly found Fusion GPS or suddenly found Christopher Steele. This is not coincidence. The FBI knew of Christopher Steele for a couple of years. They worked with him. And then, of course, you have James Comey not even getting the DNC server to investigate any hacking. He just said, okay, let's use the Soros-connected company, CrowdStrike, that is also quite the amateur-type company, making many mistakes in the past. And they check it, and they couldn't even draw any conclusions, but they just had a guesstimate. Yeah, maybe it was the Russians. But then we also find out that the CIA has a program that you can come in to a server and get out and leave fingerprints that makes it look like it was the Russians or the Chinese. And so you still don't know unless you really inspect the server. Why did James Comey never ask for the server? Not to mention the server with Awan and the Awan brothers. The server suddenly disappears. I mean, the guy takes off with the server. And so it's a mess. And I really feel like the FBI and the DOJ was much more involved than we can even imagine. And I'm not talking about, some cooperation here or there. I'm talking about intimate and daily contact with the Clinton campaign people and the Clinton Foundation and, of course, the Choco administration. And they were all doing it together. I mean, there wasn't like a separation, meaning the FBI and the DOJ, they didn't like Trump, and maybe they also did their own thing, and then they coincidentally talked to the same people, or that Choco was not involved. Of course he was involved since the start in Spygate, but also the Hillary email server. I mean, he was emailing with the Secretary of State on a private email server, not like a Yahoo email, a whole server, right? You cannot get the information. But then to see the FBI and the DOJ really delete and erase evidence, wipe it away, that it can never be found, never be used, to have witnesses destroy evidence at the behest of the FBI, that's unheard of. So what I'm saying now is that the FBI and the DOJ, and of course people like John Brennan, Choco, Hillary, I mean, they were all doing it together. And when you have a situation like that, it's too big. I mean, it's too big to clean it up unless you shut down the FBI and the DOJ, you shut down the Clinton Foundation, and you arrest Choco and his whole cabinet, and of course Hillary and her people, put them all in jail. I mean, mass arrest. I mean, that's really how you can solve this problem, because the alternative is that these people get away with crimes. I mean, we're talking about a conspiracy here, and it's still ongoing. Mueller is a part of all of that, and that's why they protect each other. How come James Comey in interviews is still saying we're doing this and we feel like this, and he's been out of the FBI for a long time already. He's still talking about we, and that is very telling. I mean, the guy's been out for a long time. He should be saying they are being insulted by Trump on Twitter or whatever he was saying. But it's we. So it don't really matter if you're in or out. Just like John Brennan, he's out of the CIA. But is he really out of the CIA? He's still pulling all these stunts, just like James Comey and the others. Because it's a conspiracy. It's not even about titles anymore. The FBI is the Clinton Foundation. The Clinton Foundation is the Choco administration. The Choco administration is the Hillary campaign. I mean, the lines are blurred, and the media helps all of them. And so the enormity of this is spectacular in that you have the FBI destroying evidence to hide their participation in wrongdoing. So how do you prosecute that? How do you investigate that? And it's what Devin Nunes said in the past, who's watching the Watchmen? Because Congress, having a couple of hearings, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't solve any problems. And the DOJ, investigating the FBI, doesn't do anything, as we notice. So how do you solve that? I mean, do you use the military to go in there and clean house? Or do you fire a bunch of people and, with all the drama that comes with it? I mean, the corruption is so deep, but also this cabal. The lines are blurred. You don't know who's who. The Clinton Foundation is the FBI. The FBI is the Hillary campaign. The Hillary campaign is the Choco administration. They're all colluding together. They're one giant cabal of people, and it's like a criminal gang, and I can no longer call it deep state or the establishment. No, we're really talking about a criminal cabal of people, and it's a lot of people. That doesn't mean it's not a cabal. And these are people that have corrupted the FBI, the DOJ, the State Department, and it goes on and on and on. So how do you go after that? How do you really go after that? Because firing James Comey, Andrew McCabe, Peter Strzok, Sally Yates, I mean, it helps. But it doesn't solve the problem. And how do you prosecute these people? Even now, Bruce Orr is still at the DOJ, so he must have been a key player that knows a lot about what the FBI did with the Trump dossier and even a Trump Tower meeting. What if they put a wire on this Russian woman that went into the Trump Tower, and we don't even know about that yet, but Bruce Orr would know. Or Bruce Orr was the guy that coordinated everything about the FBI getting Chris Steele to make a Trump dossier and coordinating with the Hillary campaign, sending emails to Hillary people and to James Comey at the same time, showing a collusion. And so with all this, we have like a glimpse into an alternative future where Hillary would have won, how corrupt our government would be by now, even more corrupt than ever, and heading toward a fascist, leftist state. And so just imagine Spygate times 1,000, and then across the board, going after all enemies of the Clintons. And Choco is trying hard, but Choco is not a mastermind. It was really Bill Clinton doing all of this with Spygate and the Mueller probe, because Choco hates Trump and he wants to be a player, but he doesn't have the smarts. And Bill Clinton's been there for decades. I mean, he's the guy that created the Clinton Foundation, right? So it's a tremendous set of crimes that the Clintons are responsible for, and the number one is Spygate. But I can also say that these people lost. Hillary Clinton did not become president, and they're still very bitter about it. Good. And President Trump will win again. And then are we going to have another book by the Hunchback of Chappaqua? What happened? Part 2, or what happened now? Or it happened again. But the Clintons are really a cancer on our nation. And I somehow feel that if you nail the Clintons to the wall, people are going to start falling in line. Just like how Lindsey Graham starts singing a different tune when his corrupt friend, John McDead, died. Maybe if the Clintons are nailed to the wall with the Clinton Foundation and all of that, then a lot of these corrupt people will, find a better path in life. And some of the bad apples, like James Comey, have to be punished. And so a special task force created in the DOJ, not a special counsel, but a special DOJ task force created by Bill the Bulldog Barr would be ideal, going after these corrupt people. And forget the IG, the Inspector General. He's a slow-walking buffoon. He's a part of the problem. And I believe this task force, for example, they could offer a reward to snitches. Okay, let's call them whistleblowers. That if they committed any crimes as part of Spygate or the Hillary email server scandal, or they were involved in the Clinton Foundation, or were corrupt in any way, they can come forward, get immunity, but they have to sing. They have to come clean. And we'll find out more about some of these big dogs that were very corrupt. So I'm saying that even someone like James Comey could get immunity if he fingers the Clinton Foundation and Hillary Clinton and so on. Because if you really go after these people and they see they cannot be saved by CNN and the left, many of them will become cowards and snitch and try to get immunity, and that way we can really round up the big dogs and be done with it. I mean, it has to happen, because if you carry on like this, the corruption only deepens. It emboldens these people, because for almost 2 years now, and really 3 years if you look at everything they did, they're all getting away with crimes. Not only the FBI and the DOJ people, but the Clinton Foundation, the Clintons, Choco, Valerie Jarrett, John Brennan, all of them. And they will feel even more arrogant, which means even more corruption and more daring, subversive activities. Now, we have to understand that it's not just about President Trump. They can do this to any Republican candidate or president, except we would not find out about it. And they will do it in a covert way that, they'll get away with it, and a Democrat would win, and it's the beginning of the end. For our republic, we would be turning into a fascist state controlled by the left. And so you have to set an example. You have to fix it. And it's almost 2019 now, then you have an election year. And you know that they're going to try to do anything they can to damage President Trump, including sinking the economy. And so we're dealing with people that don't care about the nation. They don't care about people. They only want power. They will do anything. And when I say anything, I mean anything. So we have to really be ready to react when the worst happens. And I'm saying that because I have a bad feeling about this. I really have a bad feeling about this. I know the left cannot stand to see another term with Trump. They just cannot handle it. They will do anything. And in a way, these 2 years and more, creating all this hatred towards Trump, what they really want is for a mentally unstable person to take action. That's what they really want. Not to go to a baseball game and shoot reps, but to go after the president. That is what they really hope for. And so we have to be ready to understand that the worst can happen. And we rely on the media. Conservative media, right media, call it what you will. But they're involved in Operation Zulu, as I always talk about. You see the Daily Caller, it's controlled by the Koch brothers. You have The Blaze buying CRTV and right away getting rid of some conservatives. You have Fox News turning into CNN. And you have various so-called conservative personalities making fun of Trump, insulting Trump, and trying to peel away Trump supporters from Trump himself, isolating the target. These people are all involved. They're all taking money, and in fact, it'll get worse and worse. We're still 2 years out from the election, but they're starting early. I mean, they started right after 2016. It's a step-by-step progress. You saw the algorithms on various websites, including this one. Then you have the shadow banning, and it goes on and on and on. And by 2020, we won't really have a voice because the right media will have been controlled in such a way that they will stifle the voice of the American people. And they will kind of side with the GOP and the left and really make it about, okay, let's go back to the way it was without Trump. We don't need Trump, is what they say. And if you look at the GOP, of course, because we're winning, many people are on the Trump side, even Lindsey Graham, suddenly loving Trump a lot. But be careful, because the GOP and these politicians, they're not going to change the way they are as people just because of Trump. They're still politicians, and they will still turn like the wind. So what I look for is actions, real actions, and so you praise them. If they do something wrong, you slam them. But you have to look at the issues that the GOP doesn't agree with, and if that gets any support. For example, tax cuts. Everybody in the GOP wanted that. Or Brett Kavanaugh. Everybody in the GOP wanted that. And these are things that help the GOP. So if it helps Trump, they don't really care. They're doing things for themselves. But it's those issues that maybe because of their donors or people in their state, they don't want to support something like the wall. You will see some resistance. That's why Mueller is still around, if all of the GOP was really angry about the Mueller probe, really they would have gone after it in a serious way. And they're not. And the wall, they're, like trying to mix the wall in with DACA, caca, choco caca, right? And you see that this is the old trick that they played even on Ronald Reagan in 1986 to get the amnesty. And then finally they wouldn't allow the wall later on. I mean, that's the plan. And tariffs, you have some people supporting it, but many in the GOP don't even support it because they don't understand what's going on. It's not that President Trump wants to keep these tariffs forever. It's a negotiating tactic. But I'm looking for issues where you have many GOP people not agreeing, and if they will agree to support Trump. Because you look at some of these reps, for example, Jim Jordan. Everybody would think, wow, he's really on board with Trump, but his voting record, same as Rand Paul, shows that they're only like at 74%, 72% when you look for how they voted along with Trump. Meaning it's only 74% instead of 99% like many people in the GOP voting along with Trump, 99%, meaning you're on the Trump train. But if you're a Jim Jordan, Rand Paul, Mike Lee, and Ben Sass, and a whole list of other people, and you're only going along with Trump 70% of the time, or even 80% of the time, it's not enough. You really need to have that ultimate support for everything, not just things that the GOP itself wants. And that's going to be hard because you see the right media, or the conservative media, so-called, because I don't see them as real conservatives, they will side with the GOP and the establishment because they've been doing that for decades now. This is their job. So they don't really care about Trump. For them, it's actually better if a Democrat wins, more to talk about, more controversy, and they can sell more books and whatnot. And so I don't rely on the media in 2020. It's really going to be an effort of we the people and people out there voting for Trump. But by 2020, I can promise you that you will see many turncoats in the right media. And you already started seeing that, many of them betraying Trump. And they're obviously wanting the left to win. And they call themselves conservatives. It doesn't make any sense. But money talks. And these people are all about the money. And I'm sad to say that, I have a little voice and I don't see too many 100% pro-Trump supporters out there. Everybody's trying to pander to the left, or trying not to say, hey, I support Trump, because of the blowback, because of losing subs or ad revenue or whatever it may be, losing clicks. And so people flock to other things like Q things, or some dinky websites, or YouTubers that are all over the place. And that's fine, human nature. But I find it sad. Just like in 2015, I found it sad how all these so-called conservative websites didn't support Trump at all, even though he was very tough on illegal immigration, and people are just controlled by donors and by the money they get. So to see the Blaze purchase CRTV, not that I was watching CRTV, but you have Mark Levin as an editor there. Does that mean Mark Levin now works for Glenn Beck? I mean, that would be very strange. But it also shows that the Koch brothers are making some big moves to control the media. And so you have to imagine early 2020, the economy takes a hit after the media talking down the economy, and banks pulling some tricks. And you have impeachment attempts and investigations, the Trump Organization, even Don Jr. and Ivanka, and you have more than half of the so-called conservative media actively trying to sabotage President Trump, saying maybe we should try somebody else. And Trump was really not the success that we thought he would be, getting people to feel down about Trump and to start looking at other people. And in the GOP, likewise, some of these people will start saying, well, yeah, it was a good presidency, but maybe we need somebody else right now. And that's when you will see who the real Trump supporters are. And as you know, the whole QAnon people are going to be programmed to turn against Trump as well. And as you know, Bill Clinton only became president because of a third-party candidate that really split the vote on the conservative side. And he didn't really win that many states or the popular vote. But because of that splitting of the Republican vote, that's how Bill Clinton got in. Because you notice that Democrats cannot really have legitimate wins. They always have to cheat in some way. And this is what they'll do in 2020. They're going to put up, some people that will be there to do the dirty job for the Democrats, to attack President Trump, to create confusion, to create doubters in the Trump base. And I don't think it's going to work. But if you see the culmination of everything, by then Operation Zulu, the isolation of Donald Trump, will have come to like a peak. And I think a lot of people will betray Trump all at once and just in time for the election. And then it's really up to we the people. And so it's going to be a battle. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think that President Trump will be reelected based on the good results. And, he's been a great president so far. A+. But you will see a hit. And a lot of Democrats that previously voted for Trump, maybe they won't vote for him again. I just don't know. And it's different if you're a sitting president or you're an underdog after the disastrous Choco years. And maybe people, because of the media, have such a headache about Trump. Even if they supported Trump, maybe they don't want all the hassles. Let's put in somebody who's very soft so we don't get criticized by the left. And I call that cowardice, but you have a lot of so-called Republicans that think in that way. They're afraid of the left. They want to be loved by the left. And you see that even online, people always try to pander to the left somehow. And they also join the left in criticizing Trump on his tweeting. I mean, who does that? I don't know any real Trump supporter that would criticize President Trump for talking to us in a direct way without the filters of the media. And that's how you can tell that some of these supporters are fakes and they're lying to people and misrepresenting what the Trump base says. And so I don't think prosecuting anyone is a high priority. You can save it for 2021 and do it in the right way. I really think that voters out there, not online, but voters in general out there, care about the economy, about fighting illegal immigration, and in general security. And President Trump is providing all of that in a great way. But to win the election, I think he will just have to do something extra about illegal immigration, say a wall, before 2020. I mean, that would be amazing. And when it comes to the economy, if there's a downturn, to have some backup plan, because that's really going to damage the re-election bid. So to prevent the downturn or to have a plan B to jack it back up very quickly, I don't know what will happen exactly. As for media people that are all over the place or betraying Trump, I truly believe that the American people are on the Trump side, and that those websites will notice a drop in traffic, that they will quickly give up on Operation Zulu. Now it's still early days, people are goofing around, and they're looking at Q, and they're basically dropping the ball. But when it comes to 2020 and the re-election, people are going to start paying attention. People are going to come online that usually don't follow politics, and everything's going to change. And it's going to be just like the Kavanaugh hearings. It's going to be all hands on deck. And those traders in the right media, they will have to play ball. They will have to. And in essence, they really care about the money and whatnot, so they will do it. They will flip-flop once again and then support Trump, pretend they never slammed Trump. I was just joking around. And so be it, right? I mean, you really have to be a scumbag to be in the media. You have to lie to people, you have to flip-flop, you have to parrot fake news. I don't know, it's just so pathetic, really. But the people out there are about common sense, and common sense says that whether you like the guy or not, it doesn't even matter. He's a winner, he's doing great on the economy, he's fighting illegal immigration, he's providing security, and he's great on foreign policy and trade. What more do you want out of a president? And there's so much more. So I don't worry about that he will be reelected, but I worry about the battle. And it's all depending on we the people. We really have to show up. No more dropping the ball.